All right, what's going on, guys? This is Carter, main host of the Ratecast. It's my podcast. Me and my boys have it. Today, this is my first this is my first what if I'm like recording and putting on YouTube. So I don't expect it to be first day quality. But I'm just here to have fun, talk about this. And today I'll be doing what if Deku or Midoriya had the Sharingan. So this is a My Hero and Naruto collab sort of thing. And what the way it's gonna work. Oh, first let me cover chakra. Chakra is gonna work in the My Hero universe. Everyone's gonna have it, but only Midori is gonna have a lot of it. So everyone's gonna have like 1% of it, and they're just not gonna know how to use it or it even exists. And let's see. Let me think of anything else that would like for world bending sort of thing. Um, you know, Everything else I think that covers it. So let's get right into the story. It's gonna start off in the Naruto universe with Madara Uchiha's death, his second death during the Fourth Great Ninja War. It's after Kaguya's death, she's sealed away. It's when Hashirama is over him saying his goodbye, and Madara is also saying his goodbye to him. And in purgatory, like between life and death, Hagoromo has a Sage of Six Path. He has a talk with Madara, and he's like, Madara, reincarnation of Indra, my son. You have sinned a great many times in this life. I can give you a chance at redemption by having you give your power to a boy from another world. And of course, this boy's gonna be Izuku Midoriya. And Madara isn't really gonna know what to say, but because I consider him honorable. I'd say he would accept it. And we're gonna have him accept for this what if. And what so he's gonna accept it, and then Hagoromo is gonna say, very well then. He's gonna clap his hands, and Madara is just gonna for him everything's just gonna cut to black, and then there's gonna be like a faint flicker of light. That's it for Naruto. Now, cutting to My Hero, we have the birth of Izuku Midoriya. And Izuku Midoriya's birth is going to be it's the exact same as how it was in canon, except now, when he was born, his eyes flickered red. Like, they flickered the one Tomo Sharingan. And only his mother noticed this, because it's something only a mother would see, because it was like it was less than a half second. It was a flicker of time. And other than that, that's really all baby Izuku. Going on to his childhood, like maybe 6 or 7, 8, like that range, like elementary school. We're gonna have this scene where it's like Bakugo bullying that kid, and then Midoriya steps in and is like, "Hey, Kachan, you can't make fun of this kid. He did nothing to you." So Bakugo, being a little asshat, he, with his two little demons behind him, he hits Midoriya in the face with a little explosion because he's 5. He can't really do much right now, but the potential's there. So he hits Midoriya with not a sizable explosion, but at least some marks, and Midoriya falls to the ground, hurt, like really hurt. So for us, when he's on the ground, facing the ground, so no one can see his eyes, the Sharingan do activate the one Tomo, and with that, he's like, damn you, Kachan. But then they turn back off because, he accidentally turned them off by just doing that. Now, after this, that night, he went home, and while he's drifting off to sleep, he enters his mindscape. You see, how it works is Madara is kind of sealed in there, like the Nine Tails was sealed inside of Naruto. So he's not sealed, but he exists in his mindscape, and his power is throughout his entire body. So what Madara did was basically just made a little Uchiha compound in the mindscape. So when you have 8-year-old Midoriya waking up inside of it, he kind of walks around for a little bit because he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what to do. So he walks around for a while until he walks into basically a throne room, and Madara is sitting on just a chair because he just wanted to be comfortable. He's not gonna sit in a mindscape for who knows. He didn't know how long he would have been in there without Midoriya talking to him. So he's like, oh, he finally came, or something like that, you know. Well, you guys know how Madara is. So he walks into the mindscape, and Madara is like, kid, you're pretty weak, and I hate weaklings. And Mizuku's like, huh? Who even are you? And Madara is just like, well, kid, you're my reincarnation. And Midori doesn't really know what reincarnation is, but he's heard the word before. So he's like, reincarnation. Madara's like, yes, I am Madara Uchiha. And after he says this, he body flickers over to Izuku and he's like, oh, what the hell? And he's like, let me show you something. So Madara basically like walks over to a mirror because, let's just assume there's one in the mindscape. And he has Midoriya activate his one Tomo, and then Madara activates his free Tomo, like his Sharingan. And with that, what he does is he's like, this is the Sharingan, a very special ability of the Uchiha clan. And, Izuku's like, Uchiha? What? Because, Uchiha just don't exist in My Hero world. Except for Madara now, of course. And that's just how it is. So he's like, let me tell you the history of the Uchiha. And Madara tell him all the history that he lived through his first life, and then when he was reanimated back. So everything up, he died like after Obito's training, which wasn't like so that was during the fourth Hokage's time. So he knows all about that, all of that kind of thing, and so he teaches Deku all of this stuff. And he's like, now I will, for the next 4 years, I will train you to, not 4 years, but I will now, he says, your training begins now in all forms of ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu, because, they're starting from the ground up, chakra control, all that sort of thing. Because Madara is just a beast at all of them. Now, let's skip forward 4 years. Izuku is about 12. In those 4 years, he has had non-stop training. And not like on the Rock Lee level of training, but he has been training as hard as possible because Madara is pushing him to his limits. And this Deku is going to be a lot more confident and strong than the canon one. Now, what Madara did tell him to do is to keep his power a secret from those around him. So one day he can shock the world whenever he reveals it. So like Bakugo still calls him Deku and that sort of thing. Everyone thinks he's weak, some weakling, can't do anything. In reality, Midoriya is just a beast. He's just godly at taijutsu because that's like one of the first things they started on. He's also very good at chakra control. Like he can run on walls and stand on walls and stuff. Like he can stand upside down. That sort of thing. Like he's good at chakra control. He only knows a few basic ninjutsu, and he has Madara's like type, like like chakra natures. I'm positive Madara had wind, but for now Midoriya only knows like the basics of wind, but like so far he's only been trained in fire. So he does fireball jutsu, and Phoenix flower jutsu, that sort of thing. Sorry again. Wow. But wow, that's sorry again. Wow, that's silly. But yeah. So at 12 years old, after 4, he has unlocked the second Tomo as well. I should have laid with that. I'm sorry. But no. But so he has that, and he only has ever showed the Sharingan to his mother, and he just begged her not to tell the doctor. And since Inko is like one of the, is it Inko or Anko? What, it doesn't matter. But moms, yeah, she's like one of the best moms in anime. So she's really chill. She's like, you know what, you're right. I won't tell the doctor or any of them about this. It's your choice to keep it hidden. So that's what she does. And at this point, he's okay at Genjutsu. Like Izuku kind of struggles with Genjutsu, but he can do really basic ones, like basic ones, because Sharingan users are already gifted with that sort of thing anyway. So it makes sense for him to be okay at it. So cutting a few years again, because that kind of like covers an overview of everything. We're cutting the end of middle school. So like he's starting to show more. His hair is gonna be like a bit darker, and this canon, since Madara is he's reincarnation of Madara, so his hair is gonna be a bit darker. It's not gonna be like it's just gonna be dark green instead of like it was still already dark green, it's even darker, because Madara. And in middle school, he's even better at taijutsu, and he's basically mastered fire style, and he's like moderate at wind style. And but if he uses like some kind of tool to help him with wind style, he's much better at it. But he performs well anyway with it. So he many of his attacks are just combos with that. And if you're wondering like how he knows all of this, Madara just like anything he learned in the Mindscape with Madara, he retained it in the like IRL, like in the actual world. So it was pretty neat, pretty cool. But he still has a Tutomo because all Madara told him was that he could only upgrade the Sharingan for pure like hard work, and he didn't want to mention the emotional, like the mental stuff just yet because he's like trying to make sure Izuku doesn't make the same kind of mistakes he did at his age, like that sort of thing, where he's like trying to just get extra powerful. So yeah, and his Genjutsu has gotten it's gotten incredibly better. He is just beastly. Oh, and he's learned how to use chakra control to also make himself stronger. And since the Sharingan, he basically makes so the Sharingan gives him a really good boost of strength and just overall everything. Like it does all the same abilities it already does, but including now the more like Tomoe you have and the like if it's like the Mangekyo, it gives even more strength, like that sort of thing. So he's like a powerhouse when he goes full out. He could easily whoop Bakugo right now if he really went like 100% and just went ham. But he's still keeping it a secret from everyone to surprise them. I'm doing this, so we keep the name Deku. That comes in later. And since that really covers middle school, his ninjutsu is basically he uses like if he I think it's the wind scythe jutsu where like you use your mouth to you blow and it makes a little like scythe of wind. You use that to like enhance the flames. So he has a very basic combo attacks, and Madara did teach him shadow clones in between this period, but right now he can only use about two. Eventually he can get 3 to 4, but he just can't make that much right now. He will probably make a lot more once he's like fully grown, but he's still getting trained basically. So that kind of thing takes time. Now with this, since that covers everything, we're gonna move on to the Sludge Attack, like the Sludge villain. This is gonna go basically the same, except there's gonna be a few key differences. So Midoriya is walking. Oh, this was like same day that like Bakugo burned his notebook or whatever with all his hero data and that sort of thing. Now I'm unsure if the Mount Lady incident happened before or after like his book was burned, but let's just say that day he used his Sharingan to like copy that move she did when she kicks the villain at the top of the train, or like it was a big villain. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's on top of train tracks and she just comes in and kicks him. He copied that move. In fact, he copied a lot of heroes' moves just to add to his arsenal of things with the Sharingan, because it's the Sharingan, one of the Sharingan's abilities to copy things. Now, let's move back to the Sludge villain. I just want to put that in there real quick, so that might come in for a future part. Not with this, he's going there, like he's walking underneath the bridge, and then the Sludge villain is like comes out and Midoriya looks and it's like, what the hell? What is that? And the Sludge villain's being creepy, sound like Orochimaru. He's like, give me your body so I can hide from that freak. And he's like, freak? What the hell are you talking about? In my body? Midoriya's like, sorry, dude, there's already someone like living in my body, so like that's just not gonna happen. But since like the Sharingan gives him a boost, but it doesn't give him the power to like escape. So the Sludge villain like gets him stuck like inside of it, and he doesn't have the power to escape from it. And he can't make any hand signs because like Sludge villain's constricting his movements by holding his arms to the side and that whole thing. But what does happen to this is since he thinks he's about to die, his Sharingan evolves to the Fruitomo, It's more whatever, dude. It's the same thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. Don't be a fool. So yeah, it upgrades to the like fully matured Tomoe Sharingan, and all like he still has to go for training, but he unlocked it. He unlocked it. Now, as he unlocked it, it's like a surge of power just goes through him, and as he like pushes out, he's pulling out of it. He's getting out of it just through the pure strength the Sharingan boost gave to him. And that's when All Might also pops out, and he just absolutely decks the sludge villain, and that thing just splatters everywhere. So, Midoriya is catching his breath, and he's like, holy shit, I just almost died. So he would get up, look around, he'd see All Might, and just go fucking crazy, dude. He'd start fanboying because, he's still the Midoriya we know. He's just been trained a lot and that sort of thing. And since, he's freaking out, All Might's like, yes, thank you, dear citizen, that sort of thing. I can't remember the exact dialogue of the scene, but y'all know what I mean. So he's like, young kid, will you help me pick up this sludge villain? So, they like they put the sludge villain in the cup or the jar. No, it was a bottle. Yeah, they put the sludge villain in a bottle. And then after this, the whole thing happens where he's like, All Might, do you think I could be a hero with a quirk like this? And this is when, Midoriya activates his Sharingan to All Might. Like the third, was it? No, the second other person. Third if you count Madara, but, he's kind of the inside of him, so that doesn't really count. But yeah, so the second person other than his mother. He shows All Might. All Might's like, I don't know, kid. What does your quirk do? Midori's like, oh well, it gives me better reaction time, and I can predict movements, and it gives me a boost of strength and a lot of other physical abilities. This intrigues All Might. He's like, oh well, it sounds like a very powerful quirk, kid. I bet you could be a great hero, even number one. Now, Midori didn't go in like chakra and all that, like fireball stuff, and just jutsu in general, because that would have been you know how he is. He would have gone on a whole rant and have a big explanation for it. Even with Madara's influence, he's still Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya, he's still Deku. So with this, All Might would be like, well, child, I have to go. But with this, Midoriya would use he would use the Sharingan and put like chakra in his feet. He would jump up with All Might, he'd be like, hey, where are we going? Because, he's pretty powerful. I mean, he's not OP, but, he can handle himself in a fight whenever he's actually ready for a fight and wasn't basically jumped like in the by the sludge villain. So he and All Might are in the sky, and All Might's like, kid, how are you following me? We're going pretty far now. And he's like, it's fine. I'm copying some of your moves. Now, he doesn't have the strength of One for All, obviously, but he's like basically, like, he's barely keeping up with All Might. He's putting in all of his effort in his chakra. Like he's using a lot of chakra right now just to, catch up or keep up with All Might. So they land on that rooftop, the one, I think this is when the sludge villain fell. So yeah, the sludge villain falls out of All Might's pocket while they're jumping because he's distracted by Midoriya. He's trying to barely keep up with him. Like, he's using all the chakra he has just to like put that strength in his legs to like barely put gusts of air. So they land on the roof, and All Might's like, "Kid, you're really dedicated to this, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, All Might, you gotta give me a better. Do you think now?" He's like, "Oh, here's what it's like." I didn't say that well at all. He's like, now do you think I can be number one? After all, I could keep up with you just now. And All Might's like, you know what, kid? You do have it. Because, All Might's not a fucking asshole. He's not a prick. He's like, you have what it takes to be number one. Just keep training hard until you're as strong as me. And that's when a poof of smoke would appear. And Small Might is right there. And Midoriya's like, what the hell? Who the hell are you? Where's All Might? And All Might's like, oh, I'm sorry. No. Oh, that's right. I forgot to say. They did like exchange names. Like Izuku Midoriya, he did tell him his name. I'm sorry, I forgot that. He's like, young Midoriya, it's me, All Might. And then Midoriya looks at his hair and is like, oh, crap, it is you. And Madara's like, what the hell is this world inside of the mind? Because, this dude, this super strong looking dude just turned into like a stick, a Minecraft skeleton. So, that whole thing happens where he's like, yeah, I have a power up quirk. And I just can only really be hero for about a few hours now. And they don't, just, I don't know what else they would put for that dialogue up there. They kind of just say their goodbyes. All Might leaves, and Midoriya's like leaves like right after him. So they're gone. They're just not walking around together, but they went their separate ways. Midoriya is walking around, and he hears screaming, and he just goes to check it out, see what's happening. This is when he sees Bakugo. He sees the sludge villain like holding Bakugo hostage and trying to absorb. He did it. I'm pretty sure the sludge villain did like have Bakugo like inside of him, but like Bakugo was so stubborn, he was just like constantly exploding or something to make sure that nothing happened. So this is when Midoriya is like now he still considers himself sort of friends with Bakugo because they just have known each other for so long. So he activates his Sharingan and runs full speed to the sludge villain. So what he does is he shoots a gust of wind first. Like he used the air scythe through the air and then uses fireball jutsu to like engulf it and make it bigger. No, reverse that. He shoots the fireball jutsu first and then the like wind bullet. Yeah, no, let's use wind bullet. Wind bullet makes it a lot more simple. He shoots a wind bullet after to enhance it. And then with that, the sludge villain thinks he just has a fire quirk or something, so he doesn't expect Midoriya just to roll in there because he knows it's hard for him to do much damage to the sludge villain since his like arms would just use sludge. So he uses the fire as a distraction. And with that, he grabs Bakugo by like the collar of his shirt and pulls him out of the sludge villain. And pretty not that decent like of a strength feat, but he pulls him out and gets him back to the safety of the heroes. And this is the first time Bakugo sees the Sharingan because he's like, how the hell did Midoriya do that? So he just drops off, Midoriya just like basically drops off Bakugo, and that's when All Might is like, holy hell, this kid just hopped in there, and he's like, he was more of a hero than me just now. So that's when he goes back. That's when Small Might gets in the All Might form again. Hits him with the Detroit Smash, and the sludge villain's gone. He was arrested. That whole thing. So this goes. This is similar to canon. With Bakugo saved, doesn't die or nothing, and All Might is inspired by Midoriya's heroics. Bakugo has a little interaction where he's pissed off because he thinks Midoriya was hiding some power that he didn't know. Midoriya just says he was seeing things and that the explosion was another hero's quirk because he's still trying to keep an illusion. Bakugo wouldn't believe this, but at the same time, Midoriya just kind of walks away because, he's starting not to care anymore what Bakugo says. So, Midoriya is walking home, and that's when, that's when All Might appears, not Small Might, not yet at least. That's when All Might appears in front of him, and it's like, Izuku Midoriya, you inspired me today. That whole interaction, I don't remember the exact thing, but it's when Midoriya, basically what happens is Midoriya gets one for all. I am going to have him get one for all in this, because since I'm making the Sharingan not give him that big of a boost, I think it's fine. Because in some of the other what ifs, people make the Sharingan really strong and give him like some Spider-Man level type strength when I'm keeping it sort of more closer than Naruto, but at the same time he has a decent amount of strength boost. So he gets one for all, and let's just assume after this, it's when the training starts with All Might. So the All Might training is going to be intense, like in canon. He's like clearing the beach. He's gonna clear the beach a lot quicker now because with the strength of the Sharingan, he gets like the strength boost. He's gonna get that thing clear for like a month or two. So after clearing the beach in like a month or two, All Might thinks Izuku's ready to get one for all. And he's gonna give it to him like just straight up. Like he's gonna obviously give him the hair, and then Midoriya's gonna be like, "You want me to eat a hair? That's kind of weird, dude." So, he does do it though. He eats the hair, and with that, he I'm sorry, I'm blanking here. He eats the hair, gets one for all, and with that, he just starts one for all training. So he's gonna get, since he already is used to chakra control and having energy around his body directed at certain points, he's gonna get that part of like the one for all training really quickly. And I do believe he would get like full body cowling, like full cowling very quickly as well. And he would just keep training with full cowling till eventually around the time of the entrance exam for UA, because he would still sign up for it because he is Midoriya. He's not gonna not I'm not gonna have Midoriya not go to UA. So with that, Midoriya gets one for all. He's been training for, was it not? No, we had him get it. So he's been training with one for all for 8 months. And in that time, he can use about, right, let's use 12% of one for all. And with full cowling, he can use 12%, but if he pushes his limit, he can go up to 25%. And that's when he goes all out and is like combining Sharingan and all that. Because, Sharingan's not a quirk, so I think he would be able to activate it with one for all. So this makes him already a powerhouse. But at the same time, we're gonna have Bakugo be a lot stronger because he's gonna like one day he's not gonna recognize All Might because All Might can be in Small Might form, but he's gonna recognize Midoriya like training at the beach. He's not gonna be using Sharingan or One for All for this like whenever he sees him, but he's gonna think, I'm not gonna let this loser catch up to me. All right, so he's gonna be like also very powerful. They're gonna be like rivals. Things like Naruto and Sasuke. They're gonna be around the same power level for a large part. But Deku's always going to be like, it's going to be one of them slightly better than the other just because, that's how rivalries work. It's wonderful. Also, like the other people of class 1A are also going to not be a bit stronger, but they're going to be able to put up hands, the stronger of them, like Todoroki, things like that. But they're not involved in the story yet, so let's continue. So this training is going to continue until there's like a week until the exam, like the entrance exam starts. And All Might and Midoriya are going to be like eating tacos or a burrito or something, lunch truck that was at the beach. And All Might's going to talk a little bit about the former successor of One for All, his master. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name right now, but you know who I mean, like the lady with the black hair. And he's just going to talk about who she was. And, Ma- not Maudera. Midori is not going to know who she is or anything like that, of course. But, he would just enjoy hearing about the previous user. I also think by this time, Midori would know, like, he would have met Gran Torino, because if he had one for all for a few months, Gran Torino must have, like, been around a little bit. So he would know who he is. He didn't train with him or anything yet, but he did have, like, some talks with him. They were familiar with each other. They knew each other, that sort of thing. So I think next, we're just gonna cover a bit of what week time. We're gonna have Midoriya. So around this time, he's super strong. He's putting up hands with a lot of people. He's designing his hero costume, that whole thing. He's studying for the test. He's doing everything he needs to do. It's awesome. He's being such a fucking cool dude. And so we're gonna have. So now it's the day of the entrance exam. He's gonna roll up to the school premise. He's just hype. He's thinking about the test. But what he doesn't notice is a rock. Like there's something messed up in the pavement or some little thing like that that causes him to trip. And he's so in his mind that he doesn't even realize he's falling. But then when he does, he's like, oh shit, I am falling really fast. But then he slows all of a sudden, and all he hears some girl's voice like, "Are you okay? I saw you were falling." He turns around, and it is Chaco Uraraka. He doesn't know that yet. He doesn't know her name, but he's like, "Oh shit, it's a girl." So, he's like, "Oh, hello," and he gets back on his footing after her quirk's activated on him. And he talks to her for a little bit. He's like, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Thank you for saving me. And he's like, it's fine. I know Chaka Uraraka. They have their whole little interaction. Because I just thought, I thought, let's keep it canon, keep it simple. we'll have more of that stuff developed later. So, they walk in, they just, they know. They just said their names and then they kind of did. He wasn't, Midoriya, he's a lot more confident in this. He's not just going to stumble around no, I don't think he did talk to her. He might say like one word to her, but none of this canon. He's a fucking king. Then if you have Madara training you, you're going to be a beast, a powerhouse, a little demon. Except he's not, I shouldn't have said that. Well, Izuku's not going to be a demon or nothing like that. Well, so far. At least, yeah, let's just continue on. So going on to the written part of the exam, he's smart, so I think but he's not going to get 100%. He's not going to like get the top test grade, but he is going to get like a 92%, which is pretty good. It's a great test grade. And I don't remember what he got. I don't know if they said what he got in canon, but yeah. So that's that for the written exam. And I think I'll end the first part. Yeah, I'm in the first part right now. For part two, I will go from the combat training or the combat part of the entrance exam all the way for like maybe combat training, like the heroes versus villain thing during the school. So that was all for the first part, episode 1 of this series. What if Deku had the Sharingan? I hope you enjoyed. And this is Big Carter, the main host of the Raidcast.